Opening day is almost here, so who are the players to get excited about, and which one should you be skeptical of in 2025? This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on X at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. We're on YouTube. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Hit that notification button so you know when the new episodes are dropped, as well as when we put out those shorts. And we're also available on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. It is opening day eve for the Cardinals, and just like you, I'm as excited for the season as anybody. You know, it's like, for me, it feels more like the night before the first day of school. This isn't exactly Christmas morning that we're waiting on. It's I'm feeling excited, obviously, as everybody should be. New season, new hopes, new dreams. But at the same time, I've got a little anxiety about what this year is going to look like for the St. Louis Cardinals. There's a lot of question marks coming into the season surrounding this team, especially after they unsuccessfully tried to somewhat blow things up a bit and go with kind of the youth movement is what they were trying to do. And they failed to do anything resembling that sort of movement, right? Anything that looked like a franchise that was resetting or rebuilding. They essentially just chose not to spend any more money, and they're going to run it back with the guys that they have in-house outside of the blockbuster deal for relief pitcher Phil Maton. But part of me is kind of cool with that, because my philosophy when it comes to this stuff is if you weren't going to spend top dollar to go get the superstars in the league, right, who are going to cost you crazy amounts of money, then don't just go spend money just to say you spent money. That's like the worst thing you can do. It reminds me of when they went and signed like Andrew Miller, and when they signed Dexter Fowler. Like, these were guys that were expensive, but those weren't the moves that were going to move the needle, right? So I didn't want to see them go down that path again. And what it means for this team is that just a whole lot of guys are just going to have to step up and become better, live up to expectations finally. And of course, you got to stay healthy. That's always a huge thing for any team. So today we're going to do something I want to call Hyper Hope, where we're going to look at certain members of this Cardinals roster that right now I am over the moon thrilled about and have lofty expectations for. Then there are some guys that, frankly, I'm just hoping for the best, and I'm a little hesitant to trust this year. Leading off for the hype train, we're going to start with Willson Contreras. Big Willie finally has the burden of being a major league catcher off his plate, and now has plenty of room to eat on the offensive side of the game. And I'm expecting him to eat quite well. I mean, to relate it to things that we go through as everyday people who aren't professional athletes. Have you ever had a job where your boss, you have this job, these are your duties, but then your boss just gives you too many things to do, and it buries you to the point where it takes away from the other aspects of your job. And instead of being like great at one part of it, you're now spread so thin that everything just kind of comes up a bit meh. That's how I feel about Contreras. His ability to hit the baseball is top notch. Always has been. But it was being weighed down, in my opinion, by the sheer volume of stuff that it takes to be a major league catcher. It is a really, really tough job. You know, we often ask, well, how come catchers aren't better hitters? All they do is see pitching coming at them day in, day out, all day, all night. constantly. How come they're not better hitters? And I think it's because so much goes into the position itself. Physically, for sure. I mean, have you ever tried to stand and crouch and stand and crouch a couple hundred times over a 2.5 hour time period? Kind of rough. Kind of rough on the legs, on the knees, on the hips, the back. Not to mention, you got to deal with foul tips. You got to deal with bats hitting you in the back of the head or in the forearm like it did Willson last year. You just take a lot of punishment back there. Blocking balls, things hitting you in the cup and the nether regions where things aren't supposed to be hitting. And then there's also the mental side. The mental side is just as exhausting with knowing not only your pitching staff and their information, what they're good, what they're bad at, what their pitches look like, what they throw, what they don't throw, but then learning the other team's players and their crap too, because you got to go through their scouting reports and figure out what they are good and not good at. And then when you're done with all that, then you get to go bat in the heart of our lineup, learn the other team's pitching staff so you can hit off of them and hopefully lead us to victory with your bat. That's it. That's all you got to do. Go get them. It's not an easy task. It's not. It's why finding an elite catcher that can pull off both sides of this baseball miracle are few and far between. It ain't easy. Usually you're really good at one side or the other, or you're just kind of mid at both of them. But very rarely do you find somebody who can do both things at an elite level. So it might make you appreciate what some of these catchers are doing in the league right now. With all of the things that he had to do as a catcher now gone, all just whoop. I feel like we're just going to see a much more fresh and rejuvenated Willson Contreras at the plate in 2025. I mean, look what he was doing this spring. He bulked up. Like, he looks very, very muscular in the upper body this year. He just looks locked in. Like, he looks excited to have something new. Doesn't have as much pressure for being a catcher anymore. The defense is going to have its warts over at first base. It just is. He's switching to first base. He's not going to look like Paul Goldschmidt over there. So just get used to it. I know he looked pretty darn good in the spring, but there's going to be occasions, I'm sure, this year where you're going to be like, what was that? But it's part of the growing pains, learning a new position. But as long as he stays healthy, I expect big things from Willie in 2025. FanGraphs has him projected at 243, 24 home runs. I'm taking the over on both those. I am. I think he's going to have a monster year over at first base offensively. I'm also excited about his replacement behind the plate, Ivan Herrera, new starting catcher. And obviously, my excitement for that is because of the offensive capabilities. The defense is well below what you need, which is why Pedro Pajes is a solid backup for him. But I continue to beat the drum for what I've seen offensively from Herrera. I've said it before. Perhaps his future is to be down there at first base when that Willson Contreras contract is up, because there's been little doubt at any level that Ivan Herrera can swing the lumber. He's done it everywhere he's gone. FanGraphs this year has him at 255 with 9 home runs this season because they see him only making 399 plate appearances and appearing in 100 games due to the splits with Pajes. You know, they think that the split's going to be rather large, obviously. Like, I think he's going to see more time than that, honestly. I do. Especially if some of the other bats in this Cardinals lineup, they don't wake up and become what you think they are supposed to be and hope they will be. You know, you can't win unless you score runs. And the Cardinals need all the offensive help they can get. Just need Herrera to be a better player behind the plate. And I'm not talking about a goal glover. He doesn't make a leap like that. But he's got to be better. He's got to at least resemble a catcher who can throw somebody out at second base that's trying to steal. That can block, you know, somebody who spikes a curveball or spikes one of those sweepers and it doesn't go back and he's chasing the ball all the time. He's got to be better so that the good side of him, which is the offense, isn't outweighed by his defensive deficiencies, and then he's not in the lineup anymore because they can't trust him behind the plate. But I love Willie. I love Ivan. I think he'll get better. I'm very much optimistic about that. We're going to move on to some of the names that are more hope than hype next on Locked On Cardinals. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Then, my friends, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts, which is good because each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, which your body needs, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber, which is going to help with the digestive stuff, and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Anybody knows that you try to diet, when you start to feel the tummy rumbles, that's when you start picking at things that you're probably not supposed to put in your body. And Wonderful Pistachios is going to help you feel fuller longer. I like the no shells variety because I like to grab them and go. They're perfect for me when I need a snack. Like, you're going to be watching the ball games, like, regular season starting, and you're going to be there, and you can be stuffing your face with some stuff that's not so good for you. Or you can go with Wonderful Pistachios, get the protein you need. Makes it super easy to get that quick protein boost and provide all 9 essential amino acids. It makes perfect sense. So get snacking, get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Go ahead and visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. That's wonderfulpistachios.com. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X anytime you want. Your feedback is always welcome and encouraged. I try to keep things fresh with poll questions up there each and every day. We've got a food one up there. We did movies yesterday, so got a food one up there for you today, so be sure to check that out. The curious case of Nolan Gorman is becoming an all too familiar one to Cardinal fans. You got a guy who's an early round draft pick. Gorman was a first round pick, but somebody that people think really highly of. Loads of talent. Put up really good numbers in the minors. A lot of hype surrounding him. He makes a splash at the major league level early on in his career, but then has trouble reaching that level ever again. We've seen it a couple of different times. Dylan Carlson comes to mind. Alex Reyes, Jack Flaherty, Shelby Miller, Carlos Martinez to an extent. Somebody that I remember that, all of a sudden he was in an all-star game. You're like, yes, and then it just faded. A lot of these guys dealt with injuries, which is a reason why their careers were held back a little bit. But the Cardinals have been waiting for one of their top guys, one of their big prospects to actually become a star player for quite a while now. Nolan Gorman was the Cardinals' number 2 prospect as far back as 2019. This is 2025 now. At that time, 2019, Alex Reyes was at the top of the charts. He's out of baseball. Nolan Gorman, still with the Cardinals. Andrew Kisner, backup guy. Dakota Hudson, not really sure where he was. Last time I checked, he was with the Rockies. Things weren't going well. And then, speaking of Rockies, the number 5 prospect for the Cardinals back then, Eleris Montero, was number 5. And after that, it went to Dylan Carlson was our top guy with Gorman, Matthew Liberatore, Ivan Herrera, Zach Thompson. By 2021, then in 2022, Jordan Walker pops onto the scene. He takes the top spot. Gorman's there at number 2. Libby Herrera, then Mason Wynn was in at number 5. The common theme here is that Nolan Gorman still hasn't ascended to where people thought he would be. He's got talent. He's got talent that clearly scouts and everyone else has seen. We've seen it at the major league level, seen it in the minors, saw it at the major league level. And heading into the season, the thought was that, maybe giving him an everyday job, saying, here, take it. It's yours. Giving him that from the start might relax him a little bit. And we could see him unleash the potential once again, like we did in 2023, when he popped off for 27 dingers, drove in 76 runs, and did it in under 500 plate appearances. Like, it looked like we found a masher. The strikeouts have been an issue. He's got to put bat on ball more often so that the power can he utilized. He's got this, but if you don't hit the ball, the ball's not going anywhere. Again, in home runs when you don't put the bat on the ball. But he took a major step back last year. He looked bad. This offseason, puts in the time, puts in the effort with new hitting coach Brent Brown in the offseason. And the idea was to get him a full season in the show, not, yo-yoing back and forth between Memphis, and see what's what. But because of the inability to move Nolan Arenado, he's now competing for time and at-bats with Alec Burleson in that DH spot and Brendan Donovan at second base. The spring got off to a really bad start for Gorman, and then we started to see some improvement as time went on. He had that 6-game hitting streak right at the beginning of March, cut down on the strikeouts. You didn't see him striking out 2-3 times a game, one here and there, but it wasn't anything drastic where you're just like, gosh, he looks awful. But only one home run in 53 at bats. And personally, I was hoping for more. I wanted to see more. Even if he was only hitting, what did he finish? 189, I think, in the spring. Even if he was doing that. But if I saw 3-4 home runs or something, I'm like, okay, all right, we can live with that. But we didn't get that. We got a few doubles, but only one home run. And I don't want this to get misconstrued because my everydayer is going to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Are you quitting on Nolan Gorman? Because I'm not. I still believe in Nolan Gorman. I'm probably going to die on that hill. The way things are trending for him, I'm probably going to die on that hill. Because I believe that he can be the Cardinals version of Max Muncy. I really do. But the issue for me is where and when is he going to get the at-bats to do it? Now, once again, like the pitching staff, the Cardinals are healthy right now, which is great. There's a lot of solid, healthy guys that also deserve at-bats. I mean, I don't think the guys were predicting that Victor Scott would shoot up the charts the way he did, where he earned that starting center fielder job. I don't think they saw that coming. But now he's there, and things have to be adjusted. Things obviously can change. Lars Nootbaar is a guy that we all love, but has never been able to stay healthy and stay on the field long enough. Fingers crossed, though, that he can get 140 games this year. That's what we're hoping for. Mason Wynn, we've already heard about him with the back issues last year. He's dealing with the sore wrist now. I'm not saying he's injury prone or anything like that, but the idea of him playing even anywhere close to 162 games is ludicrous. As of right now, Brendan Donovan will spell him at shortstop, which means Gorman can play second base when that happens. The idea of these Iron Man guys that have to play 150 games a year, I find it just silly nowadays. You just have to have guys that are pieces that can move around and do some things because these guys are going to need days off. Probably wouldn't hurt Nolan Arenado to take more days off at this point in his career to remain fresh. Gorman can play over at third base as well. But this isn't going to be an easy job for Ollie, to evaluate, not only evaluate guys for the future and who the Cardinals want to keep around for a while, but at the same time trying not to punt on 2025. When you talk about giving these guys runway, how long is that runway, though, if you're still trying to win games? If Gorman comes out of the gate and he's 2 for 20 with 8 Ks and a double, are they going to keep plugging him in and saying, no, you're our guy. We're good. How long is this runway really going to be before they start getting ants in the pants and are like, oh, gosh. And the Cardinals are floating around 500. They're not they haven't fallen back or anything. In situations where if you're your season's going to suck, or, a trade deadline or something. And, you trade guys off, and that is when you give the last, the month of August and September to the young guys to just play. Easier to do it then than it is at the beginning of the season. So, and right now, technically, he's not even an everyday starter. He's competing for a spot. Are they just going to switch off between him and Burleson? What if Burleson comes out crushing it? So I'm more hopeful than hype for Nolan Gorman at this point. But certainly things can change. You know I'm going to be coming in hot when he smacks his first blast of the year. Guns blazing. I'm going to come in hot on social media. Just be gentle on me when all the strikeouts are happening, okay? Jordan Walker is in like a similar situation where I have more hope than hype. But Jordan, he's got the starting job. He's got the starting job in right field. It's his. So I'm more comfortable in leaning towards hype than hope with Jordan. You know, I see him play, and I just marvel at the athlete that Jordan Walker is. You got the size, you've got the strength, you've got the speed, you've got the arm, and we're talking about a 22-year-old still. I know it feels like Jordan Walker should be pushing 30 by now. He's been around for a little bit. He's 22, going to be 23 in May, I think. But yeah, I can't fathom the idea that Jordan Walker is not going to do well. Like, I can't see him failing as an everyday right fielder for the Cardinals, which, by the way, starting right fielder for 3 straight years. Saw that, and I was like, yeah, he has been at me. And again, Gorman's not some old man, 24. So you can see why the Cardinals were hoping to move Arenado to open up not only salary, which was a big part of it, but some playing time for Gorman. So it's a tough spot for him right now. If he had hit better in spring, and perhaps we're talking about him as the everyday DH role, and it's not Burleson, who looks to be a step ahead of him in the pecking order right now. So we're going to do some quick hit hyper hope guys next. Plus, I want to talk about Ballpark Cuisine. Cardinals unleashed some new items for us to enjoy at Busch Stadium this year. I want to talk about them because I love food, and that's what I want to do. So we're going to talk about this stuff next on Locked On Cardinals. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's very easy to lose track. Yesterday, the wife and I ordered from a restaurant, and boom, it was like $40. And we didn't get anything drastic. And it's like, wow, $40, man. That's where Monarch Money comes in. They're going to be your personal CFO. They're going to give you full visibility and control over your finances. They're not just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center where you can track all your accounts, your investments, and spending, and do it all in one place. So instead of just managing your money, you can start building wealth. And it's very convenient and easy to shop and do things online these days, and money's going out and you're not really keeping track of it. And then all of a sudden you look at your account, you're like, oh, hold up a second. And that's where Monarch Money can help you out. Monarch Money is going to, instead of juggling multiple apps, you use Monarch to check your finances. You're tasking them to track your spending and even plan for long-term goals. And if you're married, it makes managing your money with your partner even that much more smoother. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com. That's going to get you 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website, it's packed with helpful resources and the latest product information, which is going to help you get the job done right, which is the ultimate goal. Get it right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need. It'll get delivered fast to you from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Good. Supply House is there for you. Offers expert support and industry-leading service. That way, you get to talk to a real person, which is not the easiest thing to do in this day and age. But Supply House says, we got real people for you. And for trade pros, if you're looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, I want you to check out Locked On Fantasy Baseball, the podcast with hosts Dominic and Matthew. They got the ins and outs and the scoops on all these guys. This is what they do. They are, if you ever listen to the podcast, like they know every player. They know exactly what their stats are. They got projections. They got rankings. If you're a fantasy person like I am, Matthew, Dominic, they're going to hook you up. They're going to get you all the information. Draft season is here. You probably already done it, but maybe you got injuries on your roster already. They're going to tell you who to drop, who to pick up, what you need to do for the certain situation you're in. You can find Locked On Fantasy Baseball on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. All right, let's wrap up the Hyper Hope segment. I'm a big believer in Victor Scott II. Always have been. I have an affinity for speed. I am attracted to it. I think I love it. I need it. I want it. I think the most fun teams in baseball to watch are the ones that have a lot of speed and they are just circling the bases. I grew up in the 80s watching, the Cardinals and those years with Whitey Ball. So that's what I want. I like it. I love it a lot. Victor Scott's got it. One of the fastest guys in the league. If he's on base, it's going to be a problem for opposing teams. They're going to be worried about him. It's going to bother them that he's over there at first base or second base. And I'm hyped for him. I'm glad the team recognized that this group is better with Victor Scott on this roster, and they put him on it. Hype for Scott II. I'm so glad that he won that center field job. Hope for Nolan Arenado to regain the form and the passion for the game that made him a fan favorite across the league. Like, everybody loved Nolan Arenado when he was in Colorado. They loved him. And that star has faded a little bit. People don't look at him the same anymore. And I want them to look at him like he's special again. You saw that energy, the home run he hit in Memphis on Monday. I need that from him more this year. I need him when he makes a great play at third base, when he was like, and he was excited. Give me that. Inject it into my veins. That's what I want. I don't need a peaceful, everything's okay Nolan Arenado. I want somebody who's going to get in people's faces. I want the guy that gets pissed off when someone, throws a ball high and tight on him and is throwing catchers out of the way like he did when he first got to St. Louis, ready to scream at pitchers. I need that guy. I need him. He needs to be here in St. Louis at my hot corner. I have hope for Lars Nootbaar to stay healthy this year, and love that they agreed to put him in the leadoff spot. At least we think that's where he's going to be to start the season. One of the best eyes in the league. Works the hell out of an account. Got to be exhausting. Just an exhausting batter to face if you're a pitcher. He's going to be that guy that helps you wear out that starting pitcher and eat into their bullpen. He's going to see 6, 7, 8 pitches in a bat. Like, he's wonderful at the top of the order. I'm very hopeful. Just got to keep him healthy, right? That's really what it is. Pitching wise, a lot of veterans in the starting rotation, so hype or hope for any of them? Not really. I hope that the stuff we saw from Sonny Gray is indeed a blip and not something more, but I'm really nervous at what I saw this spring from Sonny and at the end of last year. We're talking about illnesses and, ramping up and stuff. He fell a little behind because he had to get that injection in the offseason. That's something to worry about too. He says he's not feeling any pain. He's good, but things were going the wrong way last year in the second half. He got worn out. Didn't look good at all this spring. And I think we're all getting that PTSD of Adam Wainwright, who was really, really good, and then, boo, fell off the cliff. So I hope we could all point and laugh at me and anyone else who are panicking a little bit to start the year. If he comes out and gets pummeled by the Twins that doesn't have, without Royce Lewis in their lineup, then the hope is going to become, oh, crap. We're going to be hitting this panic button back here. You see it? I got a brand new panic button for us this year. We're going to be banging the hell out of that if things don't look good on Thursday. I am hyped for the bullpen. I love what they got out there, despite moving one of their big weapons in Matthew Liberatore to the rotation. You saw great springs from JoJo Romero, Kyle Leahy opening up some eyes. I really like him. Chris Roycroft won the role. Helsley obviously was really good. Fernandez had 2 tough outings against the Mets, so just don't pitch him against the Mets, and you'll be fine because the rest of the spring he was awesome. I have hope that the Matthew Liberatore move works out. He was really good in the pen last year, and I get that he can always go back there, but personally, I'm just hoping things don't go sideways. But for the sake of his sanity, my sanity, the fans' sanity, and this franchise as a whole, I'm really hoping it works out. And he becomes a reliable starter to go along with guys that are going to be the future of this rotation. I hope things continue to go well for Andre Palante like they did in the second half last year. But you got Quinn Matthews, you got Michael McGreevy, who's ready. He's stuck in Memphis, but he's ready. Takoa Roby blew people away this spring with how good he looked. Teen Kent's obviously could be somebody that gets in the pen, but he could be using the rotation as well. You know, there's a lot of guys down there that I'm hopeful for. And however it all shapes out, I hope that this move with Liberatore, that it does not backfire in their faces, and we get another Zach Thompson situation where, okay, well, it didn't work, so we got to put you back there, and now Thompson's hurt, and we don't even know if he's going to be a Cardinal for much longer, because now we're looking at a 27-year-old. So that's what I'm worried about that a little bit, but they're saying all the right things since they announced the move, so maybe I should calm down a little bit. Let's talk Ballpark Food. I can be calm about this. Saw that the Cardinals unveiled a whole lot of new items for Busch Stadium. Crumble Cookie is going to be there now. My wife is a huge fan of those. They're these ginormous cookies. If you're not familiar with them, they switch it out every week in real life. Not sure how it's going to work there at the stadium, but I know they are going to have a special Cardinal cookie that will be a signature cookie there. So that's cool. 3 new hot dog combinations from the Outfield Grill, which is at Ford Plaza. You've got a barbecue brisket hot dog with fried onions, which I don't need that, but I'll take the brisket. That's good. Red hot sausage with peppers and onions. Still, again, no onions, please. And a bacon cheddar bratwurst with sauerkraut and spicy aioli. Don't need the kraut, but I'll take that aioli on there. So the Slinger dog is back. What is that? 3rd-pound beef dog. The hash browns they had eggs on it. Nacho meat was the other thing on there. So kind of like a brunch dog in a way, but sloppy, yes. Delicious, yes. That'll be available again this year. The new stand, The Intentional Walk. Amazing name, by the way. High five to whoever put that one together. Asian-inspired rice and noodle bowls. They'll have dumplings, chicken egg rolls, bubble tea, Japanese beer, sake bombs. Can we do them? I had something similar in the Redbird Club last year, and it was so good. Mayo ketchup will be serving Cuban sandwiches, beef and cheese empanadas, cheese arepas, and plantains. So you're gonna get that Cuban feel that from the southeast of America. So a lot of good stuff. Plenty of new items to go around. But when it comes to like the basic foods of the ballpark, I want to know what your favorite is. You got hot dog, you got nachos, you got pretzel, and yeah, I'm putting beer in as the 4th food item because there are some people who will eat before a game. They don't really eat at the game, and then just drinking beers, making beer cup snakes out in the bleachers and stuff. So poll questions up on X. Hit me up and let me know what your answer is. Also, really cool to see Alec Burleson and Brendan Donovan at the Blues game last night. The Blues won their 7th in a row after kicking the holy hell of the Montreal Canadiens. Do me a favor, show some love over to Haley at Locked On Blues. She's like bouncing off the walls, excitement, as she should be. The boys are on a heater right now. They're trying to catch the Minnesota Wild for that top wild card spot. Right now, they're all alone in that 2nd spot. Cards are going to battle the Twins in their first series. So Blues trying to catch the Wild. Cardinals trying to beat the Twins. Down with Minnesota. That's the mindset right now. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. TikTok at Locked On Cardinals, on Instagram as well. Like, subscribe on YouTube, help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans of baseball for a reason. It's almost opening day. I'm very excited. We'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.